Welcome back to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast. And in case you're just joining us, you're listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast with Emmy Hikins and Trevor.
Then he talks about spirituality, which is a bit confusing if you mix those three things, because they're totally different things. But we're not.
Sorry, what was the last thing? I didn't catch what you said. What was the last one?
Yeah,
spirituality. Okay, yeah, okay.
Three things that don't mix together, in my opinion: fate, destiny, and spirituality. I don't think they connect. I don't think they're connected. Yeah, and
No.
this is in my opinion. But we're not talking about that today. But the one that especially piqued my interest was the spirituality of it. It said it's spiritual, and I thought, well, how far does that extend? Without actually encroaching into the barrier of religion. How far does that extend? But destiny is not something that I particularly subscribe to, because of the connotations of destiny, of the word destiny. It just means something that is predestined or meant to happen. Whether you have no control over it. So if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. It's the destiny, and that I don't agree with. And it's the same thing with fate. People say, "Oh yeah, fate did this and fate did that," and I'm thinking, no, you had some input in that, whether consciously or subconsciously, directly or indirectly. There was an external, not external, but there was an internal input on it, and that those are the two areas that I thought. And then the other thing, was it doesn't actually talk about. It talks about. So I'm just gonna read out what I've been able to bring out from it. It says the invisible string theory is a metaphorical concept suggesting that individuals are connected to their destined partners through an unseen string, symbolizing faith and spiritual ties. Well, it doesn't mention age there. It doesn't take into account age. Age plays a vital role in it. So if you're talking about a 90-year-old and a 16-year-old, there's big disparity there, isn't it? So I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I understand what you just said, but I think if you read a bit further into it, it's not just about, say, soulmates. It's not just a romantic liaison. It can be, and perhaps invisible strings. The theory is more about that, but actually it's more than that. It's also about people who are destined to meet, to create something great together. And there's lots of examples of that. I mean, one example would be if you read about the Beatles' early days, when they met Brian Epstein, who became their manager. They were kind of four young leather-clad rock and rollers, and he was a very smart business Jewish man whose family ran a shop in the same street in Liverpool as the Cavern Club where the Beatles played. Anyway, long story short, strange, uncanny sort of coincidental circumstances. For example, a guy went into his shop because he sold records amongst many other things in his shop.
Right.
And somebody asked for a song record by this group called the Beatles, which he'd never heard of. Anyway, he went, found them in the cabin, and that became almost a catalyst for the explosion that was the Beatles.
Right.
And the coincidence, you could say, the chap going into his shop and asking for a record that they'd actually made in Germany, didn't have a record contract. So that's an interesting part of the story, but that's something two people can create something great together. It can be a catalyst for some great movement or whatever. And very often people say, I mean, I've said, isn't it strange that happened in my life? Because if we hadn't done that, or if someone hadn't done that, it would never have been. Right down to when people do meet in a sort of a coincidental way and go on to have a family and, so on, things like that. So great things can happen. Or invisible string, the theory can also simply mean two people destined to meet at some point in their lives to mutually support, or one's going to be there for the other, or so on. So it's not just a romantic thing, but it also was popularized, the theory, by Taylor Swift in 2020.
Yeah.
You didn't know I was a Swiftie, did you, cuz? But she made this song very much about this. Excuse me. And in the song, she sort of explained how certain things she'd done coincidentally to.
We're going to take a short break now. We're back shortly. You've been listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show with Trevor and Emmy Hikins. The Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast is looking for sponsors. If you're a company out there looking to spread the word about the products and services you provide, please get in touch with Deepstuff Radio Podcast on info@deepstuffrecords.com, or to use the contact form on our website to contact us, please visit radio.deepstuffrecords.com. Also, if you're looking to get involved on the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast, reach out via our Deepstuff Radio Facebook page. Thank you.